Hello, this is Rafa here, and in this video I would like to talk about non-attachment in relationships. First of all, quite often when I speak about non-attachment in relationships, people go, wow, how can non-attachment be something positive for a relationship? Because quite often we associate non-attachment with indifference. So I would like to make the point, just at the beginning, that non-attachment is not indifference. Indifference means that you are not interested in something or someone. It's like you are turning your head away from them. But non-attachment is a very, very different thing, as I will try to explain. The best example that I can come with to explain the difference between non-attachment on one hand and indifference or coldness on the other hand is the following. Imagine that you are traveling. You're doing a long journey, 2 months, somewhere in some beautiful place that you like. Now imagine that during that journey you meet someone, also a traveler like you, and you really like him or her. There is a strong connection. However, both of you know that you will spend just maybe a few days together and then each one has to go separate ways, like it often happens, right, when you're traveling. So in that case, how would you feel? Because my guess is that, well, if possible, you would love to make the most out of the time you can spend together with that person. So you would be really invested and really interested in that person. So nothing to do with indifference. But on the other hand, because you know that you can only spend a few days together, you'd probably be non-attached in a certain way. That simply means that you know that this time together will be amazing, but it has to come to an end pretty soon. So that's a very good practical example of how everyone can be very invested in someone, so very interested, but at the same time non-attached. Okay, so some people could object, I understand this in the context of a journey, but what about real life? You know, when we are in our real relationships with partners and lovers, surely we don't need to be that non-attached as in the case of a journey. Some people would think that the conditions of our life and the way we love people and have relationships with people are very different from a journey. But is that really true? If you really think about it, take your lovers, your friends, anyone you know and love deeply. Do you really know how much time together you've got to spend with them? My opinion is that we don't know. Actually, if anything, in a journey at least, we know when the end date is, right? In a week from now or whatever it is in a month. But in real life, we don't know that much. Because of the ever-changing conditions of life and existence, the fact that we have bodies that are frail, that we can get ill, eventually die, anything can happen, literally speaking, tomorrow, we don't really know how much time we have to spend with our lovers and friends and relatives and family. So my idea is that if we really think about life deeply, we should develop a non-attached attitude in relationships, in real life as well, not only when we're traveling. At first sight, this might seem like a bit of a sad proposition. It's like, really, if I think about the fact that anyone could disappear tomorrow or I could disappear tomorrow, wouldn't that make my whole existence a bit sour and a bit perhaps melancholic and sad? Not necessarily. Because when you developed a non-attached attitude towards life in general, objects and people, it doesn't mean that you cannot enjoy them to the fullest. Think back at our example that we did being on a journey. Like, yes, sure, you know that you will meet that person only for a few days. Because of that, actually, you make the most of your time together. You don't waste time in, superficial arguments or things like that because you know that the time is limited. So what if we developed the same attitude towards life and intimate relationships? Knowing that the time is limited and thus making the most out of it without losing any time in things that are not worth our time, such as arguing for nothing, fighting for nothing. In fact, if you think about it, most often when we are not able to love our partners and lovers fully, it's because we take them for granted. It's because we think that they will be there forever and we have all the time in the world. And on the contrary, realizing that that is not true, that we don't know when the journey is coming to an end, can be the springboard to loving more fully, to being in the present moment, to just stop taking people for granted. So, non-attachment in relationships can make us love even deeper and in a more present and full way. We know that time is limited, thus we make the most out of it and we love fully. That's already wonderful. But it's not the end of it, because developing non-attachment in love relationships is, in my opinion, also the doorway towards a different form of loving. This is what I call unconditional love. The way we usually love one another is conditional. That means that I love you because fill in the blank. For example, because you make me feel good, because you provide me with affection, security, safety, comfort, whatever. So I love you because of all those things. But when those things are not there anymore, because maybe you go somewhere else, or you leave me for someone else, or you stop giving me those beautiful, pleasant feelings that you gave me until a week ago, then quite often my love stops, or it turns into its opposite. It turns into anger, hate, fear, disconnection. We've all seen that happen in our own lives, right? Now what I'm trying to say here is that there is another possibility, another form of loving that we can all access. And this is unconditional love. Unconditional love would be expressed by the words, I love you, without any reason. So instead of I love you because I love you, or even more, if we go even a little bit deeper than that, it could be just I love. The reason is that when we move towards unconditional love, a love without conditions, then all of a sudden the object of that love isn't that important anymore. Let me explain this better. What I'm trying to say is that in our conditional attached form of loving, it almost seems like the other person is the one responsible for us loving them. I love you because you make me feel this and that. But actually, if we go deeper into love, we realize that love isn't really about anyone. Love is an overflowing of energy from our hearts in a certain way that is there. It is a little bit like the perfume of a flower. It's there, and then if someone is passing by and smelling it, the better. If not, the flower will still keep on emitting the perfume, right? It's a little bit the same with unconditional love. It is a state of being, a fullness of the heart that simply overflows. And sure, in a certain moment of our lives, it might direct that love towards someone, towards a partner. But if that partner should disappear from our life, with all the grief and pain that this could cause, still our ability to love would be there. And sooner or later, it would be manifesting with something or someone else. So unconditional love is a love that depends on ourselves and not on any external conditions. And obviously, such a kind of love can only be non-attached, because it is independent in a certain way from the person that we love, and still it is a very deep and intimate form of loving. This is the form of love, I believe, that all the great spiritual masters talked about. A love that is universal, a love that is all-encompassing, and still it is able to be focused on a certain person or more than one person at a time without being attached. In short, once we come to terms with the realization that everything in our life is transitory, including relationships, then we can access a different form of loving. A loving that is not clinging to someone, It's not being attached to someone. It's loving because we can't help loving, because there is this energy filling up our hearts so much that it has to spill out and go towards someone. Love someone in that way is a different experience. This is why someone said that that kind of love is not really a relationship. It is a state of being. It's a state of being that we can carry with us wherever we go and whatever our life conditions are. So to sum it up, I believe that non-attachment is one of the key features that we need to develop in our emotional life to relate to people, but also to objects and to generally anything that happens in our life. Developing a non-attached attitude is a great skill. It allows us to navigate through life with all the ups and downs, with the moments of pain and the moments of joy, always understanding that everything shall pass. The good moments, the bad moments, our relationships, everything sooner or later will go. And with this awareness of the impermanence of everything, we can finally hope to live and love fully in the present, without fear, without attachment. So I hope this little video inspired you. If you like the message, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. There will be more videos such as this one. I will continue sharing a bit more of my insights and ideas regarding love, relationships, and life in general. This is all for now. This was Rafa from Koh Phangan, Thailand. I wish you a fantastic day and a beautiful love life. Goodbye.